Adventureroos!
Hi!
Welcome back to episode 24 of
A Very Venture Vodcast.
This week we're going to be discussing season 5, episode 5 of the Venture Brothers, O.S.I Love You.
Just our general spoiler alert that we give every episode.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen this episode, this season, the show, please go watch everything, catch yourself up, and then come back and we'll be here waiting.
So the title this week was after a Hilary Swank movie, P.S. I Love You.
Which was kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm.
The movie's about a lady's husband who knows he's going to die, and so he writes this, all these letters to her and kind of sends her on this adventure to, keep living her life after he's gone. And I'm pretty sure it's, alluding to the fact that Molotov is back from the dead kind of thing, even though we never actually saw her die, so we all had suspicions that she was still alive. But it was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
No.
So this episode was written by Jackson Publick, which is kind of unusual because usually they switch off,
yeah.
Right?
Or do one together in the middle.
Right, but the moment that the X1 appeared, it was like, eh.
Oh, right. This episode was on a timeline. So if you remember back to the episode that went all by the depreciating value of the comic book.
The first episode of season 4.
Season 4, yeah.
Yeah.
So this was similar.
The moment that I saw that, though, where it was like,
oh my gosh, I know.
12 hours ago, I was like, oh boy.
Oh no. So we start in the Indian Ocean 12 hours ago.
Yeah. Monstroso and Molotov, or Malmoth, which is my celebrity name for them, although Shore Leave has a different one. So the last time we saw them alive and together, it was the finale of season 4. Mm-hmm. And they're just hanging out, enjoying a cruise ship, looks like, together.
Yeah, they're on this giant ship.
Mm-hmm.
And Monstroso is wearing a wedding band?
Yeah, I think I checked an old episode, and he's also wearing it there. So apparently it's just part of its getup.
Huh.
So he's also married, which is weird, maybe.
And he still has that scar on his chest from when Billy gave him open heart surgery.
Mm-hmm. So nice continuation there.
Mm-hmm.
But yay! The O.S.I is back.
We're so excited.
Full of pizzazz and sass.
So much. So much pizzazz and sass. Complete with some of the new characters that we saw at the lunch table in the last episode.
Yes. So first of all, there was Headshot, who is played by Bill Hader from SNL. He also plays Mr. Impossible, and he kind of was, Dr. Impossible, and he kind of was like a Dr. Impossible doppel-douche. You know, it's a very similar vibe there.
Uh-huh.
And you can see him taking aim at the duo, and but the O.S.I is supposed to take them alive for intel, which Brock reminds him of.
Yeah, Brock seems very adamant on that part. And he says, how about Hit Girl there? And he's referring to Hit Girl, the badass little girl from the graphic novel, Kick-Ass.
Which is who he thinks, I guess, is similar to Molotov in the bloodlust.
Basically, yeah.
So Monstroso, things get real when he puts on his little tiny hat that has little pointy hat.
Tying it around his neck.
Things are very serious, and now he's ready for supervillainy. Yeah,
they start shooting at the ship. Brock tells him to go ahead and let them know that they're there, and Molotov offers to kill them, but instead, Monstroso gets all giddy, pats his lap, and tells her that they should give them a show instead.
Yeah.
It's super creepy, but effective because Brock is not having that at all. Seconds later, it was stamp, apprehended.
Yeah, they're apprehended.
He was not happy.
So we learned from those profiles, the O.S.I profiles, that Monstroso is 7'4" and 563 pounds.
He's like an elephant.
I guess that sums it up. And Maul's profile is that she's supposed to be apprehended, dead or alive. And I guess Brock, decided that
he picks alive.
Should be alive. Although she does get wheeled in like Hannibal Lecter.
Yes.
So
it skips ahead to the O.S.I interrogation room in present time.
Yes.
And that's where we meet 3 new misters.
Yes.
Although now we know that they were secretly the investors.
The whole time. The Misters is a Washington-based branch of the O.S.I, and its employees are secret operatives, like Mr. Doe and Mr. Cardholder. Except those two in the finale
Mm-hmm.
were exposed by Tracer to be moles for the guild, and they were arrested in the finale. So
Right.
that's why we have a new set of misters.
So this time it's Mr. Sample, who is voiced by Dana Snyder, who also plays the Alchemist.
Right.
And Mr. Your Name, if I recall correctly, that was a joke from the DVD commentary.
Yep.
He was voiced by Brendan Small of Home Movies and Metalocalypse fame.
Yeah, I just remember that in the commentary, Doc and Jackson were saying, if we ever make another Mister, we're going to name him Mr. Your Name. And they were like, ha 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 ha.
Ha ha ha! And then here he is.
It came to fruition.
Of course.
There's also a Mr. Frost,
Mm-hmm.
which is voiced by Jackson. And it's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Because he kind of doesn't fit the mold of the other, like the jokes. But it's probably a reference to a 1990s movie starring Jeff Goldblum, as I think many of these movies are.
Yeah, they really watch a lot of Jeff Goldblum movies.
Who may or may not be Satan. And I think it's that because it's Mr. Frost and it's spelled out the way that Mr. is in all these characters in the Venture Brothers.
Yeah, so they're questioning Brock and Hunter and Shore Leave all simultaneously. It kind of skips between the three of them.
Yeah.
Because even though they got Molotov and Monstroso, they're both now missing, and they're trying to figure out what happened.
Right. So about an hour ago at the secret O.S.I dry dock, Hunter is telling Brock to tell the misters as little as possible while they're investigating what went down.
We go back to 6 hours ago at the O.S.I hover quarters, and Hunter went on the record that this operation was a complete success, although it really seems like it wasn't a success at all.
Well, not in the traditional sense.
No.
Brock, meantime, tells them that they followed all the security protocol, and the agent reminds him that there were civilians on board. Guess who?
Uh-oh.
It's the Venture family.
Yeah.
Hatred is there because he's getting his 48 triple Ds checked out. Oh boy. And the Ventures are there for moral support, which really doesn't sound like them.
No, not at all. But we think that Dr. Venture just kind of wanted to go on a nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
To show Dean where he used to have an internship, which was news to us.
Maybe, yeah. I know. Maybe bond with him a little bit or something.
Yeah. I think he's really trying to connect with Dean.
Right, now that the truth is out.
Yeah. So, Hunter is jealous of every man with boobs.
And woman, we don't know.
And woman, yeah, it's possible. Both Hatred and Hank. He's super obsessed with them. He couldn't understand why Hatred would want to get rid of them.
So, apparently, he's not over it.
No.
His sex change operation wasn't just practical. I think it was something he was more than willing to sacrifice.
Yeah, he liked it.
Or gain.
Right.
In the chestal region. So anyway, as suspected, Hatred's boobs are what happens when you combine no molestrol, my favorite made-up drug, and the super soldier serum, which he got in 88 and which causes the urges. To begin with. So really, it's like this vicious circle.
Or rather, two vicious circles.
Any thoughts on Hatred's like uncensored breasts throughout like a few episodes?
I wish that they were
censored. It reminds me. It's funny because it's not like sexual. It's not like titillating.
No.
But it reminds me of like the horror of the season 3 DVD.
Without
season 3.
Yeah, with uncensored.
Where it's uncensored, and it was just like, and they obviously haven't gone back to that.
No,
but
everything else has been barred out since then. Like you're gonna show us Dr. Venture and Hatred's boobs and not Brock?
Yeah, that's my concern.
I demand a recall.
That's my concern. Finally, we get some relief about the whole Hank infatuation with the Sphinx power suit. It turns out it's just an extension of his desire to be a superhero that's driving him to wear it nonstop, a la the Batman outfit he wore for weeks, and not like a confused sexual identity subplot.
Yeah, I was kind of glad to see that. This causes Dean to make a really snarky comment about Hank not dying now that he jumps off the roof.
Right.
And Dr. Venture kind of, looks a little sad about it. He kind of pouts about that a little.
There's a really fast, quick little
yeah,
thing.
like a look. Like, oh, God.
Don't talk about this.
No, we don't talk about that.
Back to current day when everyone's getting grilled by the misters, Hunter has asked a question that we all have been asking.
Yeah.
Why is the OSI wasting resources at all protecting Dr. Venture?
It's like, I want to say it's like a legacy thing. Like, his dad was so respected, and, like, people are constantly trying to kill him. And I think that a lot of the, like, villains in that world give him a lot more credit than he deserves. Like, they think he's capable of a lot more than he actually is.
Or is that what they want us to believe?
Maybe. Which is why Hunter replies, why do you think I put a wash-up like hatred on it? Yes, but it really doesn't answer the question.
No. And, as we were reminded later, Hunter is filled with lies and pictures of also lies.
Yeah, I'm not trusting him.
No.
He's always got, like, I always feel like he has good intentions, and then, like, 3 layers under that, he has good intentions again, but somewhere in the middle, stuff gets really shady.
That is an amazing way to describe it.
We are reminded several times in this episode how much Brock actually loves Molotov.
I know. I thought we should just point that out.
Yeah, it's a sweet storyline.
Yeah, and you can kind of forget that, like, especially in the end of the last season, that with all the screaming and attempted murder, that underneath it, at least Brock has sincere feelings.
Yeah, he loves her.
Yeah, it's messed up.
It is. It switches to 1986.
Yes.
The Goodwill Games in Moscow.
Yes. Where we get some really juicy intel
I know, it's
on how
good.
they first met. We got, like, answers again. But they were both in the Goodwill Games in Moscow, which was an international sports competition created by Ted Turner, the TV mogul, in reaction to the political trouble surrounding the Olympic Games of the 1980s.
In 1979, the invasion of Afghanistan caused the United States and other Western countries to boycott the 1980 Summer Olympics, which were in Moscow. So the first of the Goodwill Games was held in 1986.
Yeah, like a off-brand Olympics. Yeah. It turns out they were both there undercover. Brock as a USA shot putter / javelin thrower, and Mal as a gymnast. And they were actually both rookies as well.
Brock and his first partner were gathering intelligence on Mal's dad, the deadliest KGB assassin, the Siberian Husky.
Yeah, because he had 2 different color eyes. Get it?
And he had a Wolverine-y thing happening.
If we could get through one episode that you talk about Wolverine, I would be amazed.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, I think everyone knows.
So Gorbachev is actually in the audience, and he almost gets assassinated. We're assuming he was the intended target because they showed him. He's the former Soviet statesman who served from 85 to 91, and he's famous for the birthmark that he had on his forehead, which is how I recognized him in the audience. It was like this moment where I was like, oh wait,
Gorby,
he's famous. I know him.
And this harkens back to some of the first dialogue we ever hear between Molotov and Brock in The Incredible Mr. Brisby.
Right.
I guess I'll be Molotov.
I'll be Brock, yeah.
You killed my father!
You killed my partner!
You took my eye!
After you took my heart. Also, side note, where was Molotov keeping the gun that she used to shoot them? Because that seemed like it came out of nowhere.
And she didn't yet have an eye socket. So they continue questioning everyone regarding their relationship to Molotov. Brock is adamant that they never had sex. Hunter swears that they were just co-workers. Doc says that she was just a babysitter, although there was some flirting.
Oh, Doc.
I roll.
It switches to 4 hours ago. They're in the OSI interrogation room, and Brock makes Monstroso wear a fetching romper.
It's totally romper.
Made out of soiled sheets during an interrogation.
Monstroso says that he's gonna spill because he's already as good as dead, and the guild is coming for him anyway. Then he lays out some, truly shocking information. However, none of it can be trusted because Dr. Wife, as we remember, reminds the monarch many episodes ago that Monstroso is king of the double cross.
But what he does spill, one of the things is that the sovereign is not really David Bowie. That's new.
Super new?
Okay.
How do we feel about that?